So here I'm etching my print. If you look up close here, you'll see that there's black marks on my print, and that's because there's defects in the negative. And the light is transmitting and showing up as black spots. And that's silver embedded in the gelatin. And what I do is I use a surgical scalpel and 2 sets of glasses, and I scrape off the silver that's embedded in the gelatin, and I have to do it very, very gently so that I do not go beyond the barrier or the layer of gelatin. So this is basically years of experience, and in Photoshop it's really easy, but you know, I was trained to do this before Photoshop ever came out, and very gently I scrape off the silver that's embedded in the gelatin, which means taking off some of the gelatin, but never so deep as to go beyond. So, you know, when you're shooting 4x5 negatives, it's a common problem to have this happen. And this technique took me about 2 years to learn. But, you know, I've done it so much now that I'm really fast at it. And, you know, obviously Photoshop's a lot easier. But I'm just zipping along. I want to prepare 2 prints today. So I've logged them. And I've already touched up one. This print is particularly bad because it's got about 30 spots that I have to etch out. When you use a surgical scalpel to take away the silver gelatin, it's called etching. And when you add darkness to the print instead of taking it away, it's called spotting, but I'll show you after I do this print here. Okay? Go. Excuse me, I gotta turn it. Every once in a while you gotta turn the paper so that your angle of scraping is changed a little bit and tends to help. But basically, you know, I just use the philosophy of making defects disappear. Okay, that's pretty good. Work on the other ones here. See, you see them? Yes. Go along the paper. So that's a considerable amount of work, you know. But I've already done literally half of the page. So, you know, I'll be able to frame this print today. I've got 2 prints that have potential clients. I just printed them in the darkroom yesterday. So, you know, clients always come first. So if I have potential clients, then I'm producing. Of course, you need a good light source and the proper glasses. I use 2 glasses. I don't know how many. My reading glasses are number 3s. And the jeweler's glasses, I don't know what they are, but they sure are powerful. One day my cousin, who's a laser eye surgeon, showed me his big $1 million machine, showed me what it does. And I said, "Whoa, pal, I do exactly the same thing, but on gelatin with the scalpel, we laughed. But it's about the same kind of detail. It's very, 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 very minute. And you have to be very delicate. And you have to use your psychology to make things disappear. Like that. The scalpel that you get has to be round and like this. If you get the pointy one, it's not going to work. Yeah, so often I'm using the near the point, the flat edge of the scalpel. If you get a pointy scalpel, you'll just wreck your print. So now I'm going to spot the print. I use my spot pens. I don't even know if you can still find them. But the idea is just so that the tip touches and a little drop of ink goes on the paper. And they're really good, and they're rated from 1 till 10. So the lightest ink is 1 and the darkest ink is 10. What I used to do, and what I still do sometimes, is I made myself a palette with Indian ink, water, and gum arabic. And I use a very, 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 very small brush with a very fine nib to work with. With the pens you can just move along really fast. I really use the brush for very difficult situations, but obviously the pen's spotting is a lot faster than etching, and you don't have to be so delicate, and you can fix up, you know, where you've made a mistake. So where I've etched, some places where I've etched, I went just a little too deep, so I just put a little bit of number 1, a little spot here and there, and that'll just make all those things just disappear. And it's all very gentle, and that's how you spot the old-fashioned way before Photoshop came in. Okay, so now I have to change pen. Now I figure I gotta go to number 3. Etching is obviously about, 500 times more harder. This was. And usually when I make my own fixer, I don't put a hardener in there, because I find that prints that have too much hardener, too difficult to spot. Seems to coat the. See, so that's in number. Okay, so now I'm going back to number 1 here, and I don't have to wear that huge jeweler's headset for spotting, because it just don't have to. You know, it's so much easier than etching. Sometimes if it's a little too dark, I just touch it with my finger and it will lighten it up a bit. So, I'm still wearing number 3 glasses, and this print will be exhibited behind glass. So by the time it's behind glass and it's properly framed, then it'll be difficult to see these spots. I got a pretty bad hair here, very fine. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. I guess I'll try to remember. I don't like my number 4 pen, but it's a little thick. It's been used a lot. I'll just try and dot it out. So it's always little dots, for hairs or whatever. You can't really kind of brush it on, you just dot it along. And that number 4 is a little strong, so I'll just touch it with my finger. And then I'll try it now with the number 3. Fill in the holes. Even the number 3 is a little hot, so I'll use a number 2 now. Get my number 2 out. A little hard on the back. This hair is so fine that it really is much bigger than, but that's about as good as I can do it. This negative is particularly dirty. Okay, so I just finished spotting up those 2 prints. It was a lot of work. My eyes are burnt. And afterwards, I'm going to show you how to sign the prints. Okay, thank you.